Whew. What an end. Anyone else need a cigarette after that? Bruins friends, I think we all need to hug it out. We very much need to hug it out after that one, because that is a 4-3 victory in overtime against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Welcome back to the den, everybody. Oh man. Oh man. Okay. Hey. So, Bruins. Before the game against the Sharks, we were on a 3 games. We were on a 3-game losing streak, and I thought, okay, the win against the Sharks, it's not necessarily a win against a quality team, but it's a win that I feel like you could leverage something off of. I really don't know if we would have won this game if we hadn't had that sort of leverage from the Sharks game. This game was fun. This game was the most fun and has been the most fun game to watch all season. And, like, this was this game. Remember the game last year between the Bruins and the Leafs, where there was that whole controversy of Omar accidentally throwing his stick, but still making plays without it, and the Bruins ended up winning that one 4-3. Yeah, similar vibes, very very similar vibes. So, let's get into the lines. Because there was one big thing in this game, or rather, one big thing left out of this game, and that thing would be the presence of Johnny Beecher. Jim Montgomery had said that Beecher had been on a little bit of a decline over the past few games, and that is why he was given the healthy scratch to have Oscar Steen come up. Monty, I want to know what games you've been watching, because during that 3-game stretch, Beecher was one of the few bright spots. Beecher was doing his job. He was actually legitimately one of the few good players on this team through that stretch. He is fantastic at the dot. He is big. He knows how to utilize the fact that he's big, and he's fast. He can generate he can't generate insane amounts of scoring, even though he has 4 goals this season, which is pretty good for a rookie this far, especially one on the 4th freaking line. But we bench him for Steen, and Steen I like. But why didn't we bench Lauko? Now, I love Lauko. I really, really love Lauko. He's our terminally online king, and God knows when it comes time to pop the question, and he is going to ask a bag of grapes to marry him. He hasn't played well this season. He had those 2 weeks off recovering from one of the most gruesome eye injuries I've seen this season. We're not going to talk about anything more than that. But Lauko ended up he didn't contribute very much. And honestly, the entire 4th line didn't really look like it had much of an identity this game without Beecher. And I don't think that benching him for another game is a great idea. And I'm totally not saying that because Beecher was the first player to give me a puck, and And for tomorrow, I totally don't have another sign to crowd the boards with in the pregame. Totally not the reason. It actually isn't the reason that like everything I've said about Beecher up until this point has been completely true. But more than that, but it isn't just Beecher's absence that was a big shakeup on the lines. Coyle and Frederick again got separated. This time Coyle was on the second line in between Marchand and Heinen, and Patra moves down to the third line in between Frederick and JVR. And honestly, it didn't go too bad. It didn't go too bad. I still think that Coyle, Frederick, JVR is our best line. That is our best line right now. Oh, and it is not really any surprise that Coyle is also second on the team in points against this season. But yeah, that I don't think that I really don't think that benching Beecher was the right decision. But what do I know? We won a game, so let's talk about that. Bruins come out of the gate the way that they have in the past few games, slow, and I don't really. And at this point, I expect them to be slow. Oh, in spite of my best wishes. I want them to be fast. I want them to come out of the gate guns blazing. They are not going to do that. They're not going to do that, and unfortunately, they are still very, very slow. Very, very slow. Oh, they're getting Marner. Actually, we'll talk about Marner in a little bit because there was a really funny thing that happened with Marner. But we keep getting caved in our own zone thanks to the Leafs core 4, which, by the way, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and Riley. Those 4 make up 59% of the Leafs' entire salary cap. You want to go on a deep run? That's not how you do it. That is not how you do it. But just over halfway through the first period, after a few attempts to make it into the offensive zone, we get pasta. Oh, we get pasta. We get a good serving of pasta. Pasta and Riley just staring each other down. Pasta advancing, and all he needs is just a little bit of a seam. He gets Riley to flinch a little bit, and while still behind Riley in reference to where Joseph Woll is looking down, Pasta just still snipes it top corner and bar down. 1-0 Bruins. Oh, 1-0 Bruins, and from there the game gets a little bit weird. A little bit later in the first, about 5 minutes later, we get a penalty on Ryan Reeves for boarding Matt Patra, and oh my god, I'm honestly surprised that more penalties weren't called tonight against Toronto, because not only was this not the only penalty committed tonight by the Leafs, it also wasn't the only penalty committed against Matt Patra. And Leafs fans are all like, "Oh, that's a clean hit. That's a clean hit. That's a clean hit 9 times out of 9." First of all, we didn't score on that power play, so quit your belly aching. And second of all, Reeves hit Patra right in the numbers against the boards. Right in the numbers against the boards with lead up. So whatever the hell you're talking about, I don't know. I don't know what you are talking about. but second period, we get another frustrating. How is this not a penalty? We get the first frustrating. How is this not a penalty thing with Benoit? I forget what his first name is. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm gonna look on ESPN right now. I have no shame. Simon Benoit. He just grabs Patra, and he like flings him over his shoulder into the, not really over his shoulder, or just like around his hip, but like is still very much holding him, and that is supposed to be holding, and it wasn't called holding. It wasn't called it. You know what? This was another playoff type game. I'm not going to complain about. I can't really complain about the lack of penalties because it didn't really because it went both ways on this in this game, but and it definitely had the intensity of a playoff game. That's for damn sure. But speaking of playoffs, what's more playoffs than players you wouldn't expect to score goals scoring goals? Because we get the first goal of the season from Kevin Shattenkirk. This one, it's given to Shattenkirk, but this one is all pasta, baby. DeBrusque has the puck. He's driving in, and Wool saves it and circles back around with the puck to get to Pasta. Pasta in open ice. He has a freaking spot day. Kick your feet up, my guy. And he has a straight shot. He has a straight shot towards Joseph Wool. He opts to go a little bit off on this one. He intentionally shoots it wide for Kevin Shattenkirk to take it and flip it up a little bit. And here's the thing. Pasta is that's the great thing about Pasta. He's so versatile. I like to say he's so versatile, even though he has zero defensive capabilities. But on offense, he is so versatile. You need two people there. You need someone to cut off the shot, and you need someone to cut off the pass. And the Leafs just left Joseph Wool on an island there. Here. And for what it's worth, Shatsy, great job. Great shot. Hey, now we can use the joke of you just got shat on. But this is basically, even though I would wager to say that that this second period is legitimately one of the best periods that the Bruins have played all season. But there's still a little touch of classic Bruins. What the hell are you doing? Particularly on defense. Now, yes, there are, again, a few penalties. Bertuzzi probably should have gotten it in a hooking at some point. During one of the Leafs drives. But the Bruins break down in their own zone, and what do you think happens? Nyes, which, by the way, Matthew Nyes on the first line with Nylander and Matthews. I'm kind of proud of him. I knew that he was going to be good out of. It was either Minnesota or Minnesota State. I think it was Minnesota State. But I knew that he was going to be good coming out of that school. I just didn't know how good. And to be fair, he hasn't been perfect, but he's been great. He's been great for the Leafs, and hey, decent. Always good to have good young guys come up. God knows that's how we're doing tonight. Or not this night. Or not tonight. This season. Minor spelling mistake. I lose. the Bruins win. So it all works out. Either way, we go into the second period. Not second period. Second intermission. And tied it. Not tied it. To that. That happens a little bit later. But we go into the second period, coming off a really good period, even though we end up giving one up near the end. Third period sucks. Thanks. In fact, it sucks so much that within the first 3 minutes, we have tied. The game is tied off of Ty Domi's kid. God damn it! That's a good. Dads are going to have joke material about that for a while, which is interesting because they already had that with Ty Domi. The thing is, Ty Domi just never really tied games up very often. He would just send them into chaos by not giving a single flying fuck about whether or not something is legal. Ty Domi, I think, is second all time in penalty minutes. I forget who has the most. I don't know. Anyway, Max Domi off of Kalle Järnkrok and Nick Roberts. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the thing with Marner. Marner, I really like Mitch Marner, but I did not expect him to be outmaneuvered by Brandon Carlo. Oh, my man's just what is it? Marner kept trying to get around Brandon Carlo, but apparently 6'5" is just a bit too much for Marner. So he tries to go this way and tries to go that way, and he just falls down. Mitch, buddy, I'd say take off the bubble, but the bubble led you to have a hat trick the other night. So who knows? Yeah, that's a bad look from you. About 10 minutes later, Bruins get back in control of this with a play from the third, from I guess half the third line, because it was Geeky who had the secondary assist. So a mix of third and fourth line mid transition. In Geeky. What is it? Forbort forechecks it up to Geeky. Geeky enters the zone, and he blasts it from like the top of the slot, and Joseph Woll has most of it. He has most of it, but not enough to secure it, and it pops over him, and just as he tries to go back to get it, Frederick is right there on the doorstep to just tap it in, and that puts us in cruise control. We just need to hold on for oh my god, we gave up another goal with 5 seconds left. Have you heard this story before? Yeah, this game for some reason played a lot like that Tampa game a little bit ago, right down to what is it? It was Austin Matthews scoring his second goal the night that night with 5 seconds left. So again, have you heard this story before, where the tying goal ends up being scored with 5 seconds remaining, and it's by someone who has scored 60 goals in his career before? Damn it. God damn it. But then we get to overtime. Bruins suck in overtime. Usually. But we are fantastic in this one. We are playing the requisite defense. We are making the plays that need to be made. We are in command during these 5 minutes. I think during these 5 minutes we put at least 10 shots on Joseph Woll, and to his credit, Joseph Woll held his own on this game. He is it's funny they gave so much money to Samsonov just for him to be the backup goalie. It's kind of like the Oilers giving Jack Campbell a 5x5 only for him to be cut a few cut a few years later, or like the the Kings giving Cal Peterson like a 5x5 only for him to also be waived. Maybe just don't pay goal. Actually, who knows? Maybe you should pay goalies. Maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. We're getting a lot of mixed signals, but this last goal is incredible. This last goal is incredible. A bad turnover from the Leafs. I forget who it was. But a bad turnover leads to Pastrnak no, wait. It wasn't a turnover. It was just a loose puck. Like, Pastrnak is gunning it. He is. He has his sights right on Joseph Wool, and Joseph Wool stands tall. Well, he blocks the shot, but Pasta gets the rebound, but he doesn't have the angle. Well, he sees his buddy Marchand, and coming right down on the far post. Like my dad always said in soccer, make sure you have someone on the far post. Why? For plays like this. Where Brad Marchand, who had not scored in 3 weeks, who people had been wondering if giving him the captaincy was the correct decision at this point. He's right there on the doorstep. He catches the admittedly high pass. He sets it, and just as Joseph Wool is reaching out to try and save it, he chips it up and over. Storybook ending. Honestly, this game was incredible. And if I were to compare it to anything, I'd say the way that the Bruins play the Leafs is similar to how the Boston Celtics play the Philadelphia 76ers. These are teams with incredible rivalries. And theoretically both of them should be should be top of the class. Yes. And no matter what, whenever we play each other, it's always fun. Even though the Bruins can struggle against teams like the Habs or against the Blue Jackets. And I'm going to see them play the Blue Jackets it's tomorrow. That'll be fun. Even though we may struggle against those teams, for some reason, we always have the Leafs number. I say this as though we haven't really had as though in my first season doing this we didn't lose like 4 games to the Leafs that season. That was but the Bruins hold on. And tomorrow, coming back to TD Garden. And hey, hope to see you guys there. And Beecher, I don't think you're watching this. Hope to see you on the ice. Take care, everyone.